Okay, so before we speak to police, I just want to know about the moment, on a personal level, the moment that you were charged. Did you know it was coming? What did it feel like? And how do you feel now?
Okay, so the moment I was charged, what's crazier is the moment the search warrant was issued was a day after the whole GameStop saga. So you can imagine that was a wonderful week of my life. And the 4 years...
Sarcastically, because that was not a wonderful week of your life.
Oh, no, of course. So the 3.5, 4 years going from there on in, you're saying, what am I being investigated for? Like, what's this about? So when the actual indictment came down, there was a sense of, oh, my God, I'm being indicted. And then I read it and a sense of relief, saying, Tesla, NVIDIA, Facebook, wait, I shorted these stocks? And then, okay, if the government goes through tens of thousands of your emails and messages, you don't know what's going to be found. So when I read it, there was a sense of relief.
Okay, well, let's talk about whether you should have that relief or not, because this is what the SEC said. We uncovered what they're calling alleged bait-and-switch tactics, which netted Left and his firm $20 million in what they're calling ill-gotten profits, and we intend to hold Left and his firm accountable for their actions. What they're effectively suggesting is that you put oftentimes on Twitter what you plan to do or what you were doing, and then after you tweeted about those things, the allegation is that you either sold out of those positions or did the opposite to some degree of what you were telling the public.
I've never done the opposite. So the opposite, in my opinion, would be if I told you to buy and I turned around and shorted the stock. Okay. It was risk management. Anyone who trades stocks for a living know if you have a position on, you might trim it, you might put stop loss orders in, you might put limit orders if you're making money. Most importantly, they use the word immediately. I traded immediately. But in some of these cases, immediately was 1 day. In some of these cases, immediately is 6 days, 4 days. For stocks that trade 50 million shares a day. So it seems very open, this word immediate.
Well, in some cases, though, it does appear that it was within a day.
Yes.
In some cases, within an hour. No?
Of course. General Electric, years ago when Harry Markopoulos was on CNBC and called GE a complete fraud, I then turned around and I wrote a quick write-up why GE is not a fraud. It's up 300% since then. Stanley Druckenmiller came on CNBC and defended it. And sure enough, I put it out, and luckily within that day, the market also already realized it was wrong, the Markopoulos report, and I sold my stock. It was maybe an hour later. It was.
Right. How much do you think this is about not just saying I'm long something, but I'm long something and I have a particular price target on a stock? So I'm thinking about in the NVIDIA example, for example, which was then trading at $144. You say we see $165 before we see $120. The Department of Justice says then you sold the position at a price of $150.
Think of how crazy that's a criminal charge. I said the words unrealistic price targets. By the way, since that, NVIDIA's up, I think, 3,500%. The stock's 140, and I said I think the stock's going to trade at 160. What part of that's unrealistic? And I sell it in the 150s. How is this a civil charge? How is that a criminal charge? And actually, the whole context of the tweet was I said, NVIDIA, this is 2019, the leader in AI.
Right.
I'm discussing it before ChatGPT. So where's the investor protection?
One of the examples that they use is that of Tesla. And I want to raise the issue of Tesla with you because there's an interesting irony to all this, which was that you sued Tesla over the time when Elon Musk talked about taking the company private at $420, meaning he had put out a target on it. It ultimately obviously wasn't something that happened. And how you think about that relative to your own situation?
I didn't sue him. I was part of a case that I actually dropped out of that suit in the class action because at the time I was short Tesla. I was the first Tesla critic to change tune on it, and I took a lot of heat from it. Actually, I was fortunate enough to do it at the most pivotal moment of Tesla's history, which was Q3 18. 2 days before they reported, I put out a wonderful 21-page report explaining why I was wrong on Tesla, why Tesla is a buy.
Right.
Tesla pre-released earnings, stock went higher, I made money, I sold my Tesla stock, and that's the largest. The Tesla is the largest financial of all the charges. That's the largest one. Me telling people to buy Tesla in 2018.
So I think there's a larger, almost philosophical, I mean, there's a legal question and a philosophical question about what you think the investor class should or should not be able to say publicly and aloud, and what they should be disclosing about when they either change their mind or change their position.
That's a good question. So as long as, in my opinion, I've never been accused by the SEC or DOJ of ever lying about a company. That's the key thing. I speak the truth about companies. My opinions are truthful. As for trading, everyone has to trade with their own risk tolerance. I can't tell you how to trade. I wish I had Warren Buffett's patience. Someone else's trading acumen.
Right.
So can you imagine if this is true? Any guest on CNBC has to come on with their lawyer in the background, because I'm sure people are going to be discussing NVIDIA 100 times today on TV. And if they change their opinion in the next 2 days and they sell it, are they committing a criminal act?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you how you think about the, folks like a Roaring Kitty, for example, and you think about his circumstances, meaning he seems to be able to move stocks materially, and at some point, I think he's getting in or out of them when he puts up a meme, and your circumstance.
Forget about Roaring Kitty. How about the millions of people a day who are on Twitter, who are on Reddit? How about the hundreds of guests you have on CNBC? And they have to update their trading positions with their statements. If you trade
this
within
is the
how
very
many
interesting
days?
issue about sort of the First Amendment, right, on one end, which is your ability to actually go out and express an opinion, and the question of the distinction between expressing an opinion and the idea of manipulation, right?
Fair enough.
How do you think about that?
Well, if your opinion is based on fact, an example, on the activist short campaigns that they discuss, all the 4 activist short campaigns are down 90%. Most are down 99%. 3 of the 4 turned out to be complete frauds. Okay. So I put out that information. Is that my opinion, or is it the fact that moves the market? That's the important thing. They don't accuse me ever of lying about companies. So it's not my opinion. If you put out fact, and fact moves the market, that's not manipulation. Okay.